Okay, this is Greg with Lionquestfitness. We're back to continue our review of the Charter Arms Magpug 357. Now, those of you who watched the video last week will realize that the gun locked up on me, and there were several problems, mainly that had to do with the cylinder not turning properly, and I had to send it back to Charter Arms. Well, let me tell you something. Put it with UPS on Monday, and I got it back on Friday. And in between, I got a couple of emails from the company, even got a phone call from the technician who worked on the gun. So Charter Arms, you have exemplary customer service. Now, I've got some range footage. I'll show you the gun shot much better. You know, the gun is still shooting point of aim low, but I did not have them do that. I talked about I was getting light primer strikes and then having problems with the cylinder turning, and also that the cylinder had finally locked up. Now, what they did, the hammer was replaced. Okay, hopefully, so far that's taken care of the light primer strikes. And the head space, the space between the rear of the cylinder, if I'm not mistaken, and the hammer, that has been adjusted. And it was inspected, function checked, and test fired. No malfunctions occurred. Well, I believe they did a good job in repairing it. But I have to ask, you know, in terms of cost analysis, wouldn't it be less expensive to make sure a gun goes out in good working order, you know, before a customer has to find out there's a problem and send it back? Well, let's go ahead and talk about what you get when you buy a Charter Arms revolver. And, you know, first off, these are roughly fitted guns, and they're roughly machined, and you can't get around that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the gun's not going to work. You know, as long as everything is in alignment and the gun goes bang, you know, that's what you want. And I'll give you an example of this. If you can see the trench sight and see how uneven that was milled. And that's not a big thing with a gun that's meant for close quarter self-defense. You know, you're not shooting bullseye matches with a gun like this. All right, another thing, and this was one of the problems. There's a screw, let's see if I can hold this where you can see it, that locks in the cylinder. Unlike other firearms that they have a pin that locks in the cylinder. And that screw can become loose or it can be over tightened, and that can present problems with the firearm not being able to lock or unlock. All right, let's look at a couple of the actual design features that I don't particularly care for. All right, first off, this gun shoots very low at point of aim. You see I've already put some orange paint here, but the sight is too high. And you have to raise that sight up to be able to hit what you're aiming at. Now, in theory, this has to do with recoil, supposedly. I don't know. But the sights definitely need to be shorter. However, a lot of firearms this day and time are made like that. And there could be an advantage in that you're just posting the front sight, not worrying about the trench, but just lining up the front sight. You know, it depends on the shooter. Now, it is ported, and I'm not sure that that's an advantage because I have read, and I can't vouch for the veracity thereof, that you actually lose velocity because of porting. You know, I don't know. It's not anything that I feel is a plus on the gun, although it may mitigate recoil somewhat. And another thing that I had issues with was the plunger, you know, trying to eject rounds. This particular system has a 3-piece plunger, and it's something I've been working. I've oiled it. I've been trying to get it to do a little bit better. It's hard to eject shells, and if you had to eject and reload quickly, you would have a hard time doing so. So, Greg, what do you like about the gun? Well, I like a 2.2-inch barrel. It does seem to be mechanically sturdy enough to handle 357 fairly well. And it's a revolver. I don't know. I'm not real impressed at this point in time. All right. And I wasn't looking to be impressed. I wasn't looking for Smith & Wesson or Ruger quality, but I was looking for something that could be competitive with Taurus, and I'm not seeing it, at least not right now. But I'm going to be shooting the gun, and I'm going to be working with it, and I'm a stubborn kind of fella. I'm going to see how much I can get out of a gun like this. So anyway, we're going to keep putting this gun through its paces, and I'll show you the rain footage, and you see what you think. And this is Greg with Lionquestfitness. All right, this is the first two. That's the second two. That's really what I'm trying to find my aim point at.